Okay. Um, so I think the game has been out long enough, and I've been playing long enough, certainly, that I think we can make a pretty good tier list here for the Marvel Rivals characters. As for my own experience, I am currently at Silver for the competitive mode. Keep in mind, everybody starts at Bronze, so that's not the worst thing in the world. This is just the day one, kind of everything that we already saw from the opening. Everything they revealed beforehand about abilities, combined with just a bit of play and quick play, and a decent chunk of competitive. So we're seeing roughly how the meta is going to shake out. As you can see, I have found a brand new perfect organization technique of tiers ranging from S plus to D, as well as ranking the characters starting with the tanks, and then leading into the damage, and then finally the support, or Vanguard, Duelist, Strategist, if you want to be that meh about it. Nobody's ever done this before, I'm going to be the first, so that is where we're starting, and let's just start at the very beginning. Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner, Hulk, really interesting character. Almost a kind of Winston-esque thing where he's more about running around and punching things. Interesting ability in that he can kind of stop characters from moving or being affected by anything. He himself can't hit them, though. And then his ult is just big fuck off. Slaps people around. I think the biggest issue with Hulk right now is that grab during his ult, the World Breaker. You can't damage him, but you can heal the ally in it, and it does like baby levels of damage. So really, he grabs someone, and unless his team is there just keeping him from getting hit, that person's probably getting away. Especially because he's going to slap him afterwards. Hulk's an interesting character, a lot of mobility. I think he belongs in B tier. You know, he's nothing incredible. Ironically, he's not the Incredible Hulk. He's a decent tank. As for Doctor Strange, a little bit lower. Biggest issue with Strange really is just, damn, that portal is a really mediocre ability. It can win a team fight. Don't get me wrong. You can move your team around instantly, and that is strong as hell. But 3-minute cooldown on that thing is ridiculous. And really everything Strange does is just kind of slow. His shield isn't amazing. He jumps up and then flies around a little bit, but it doesn't do much. You know, it just kind of is there. His ult is pretty great. The Eye of Agamotto is great kind of stun and holding people in, but I don't think it's all that special, and it's not going to help you in the day-to-day, especially because if you play Strange too well, you may end up getting that debuff, where he just anti-heals himself, and that's kind of rough. Groot, meanwhile, instant A tier. This guy is a great tank. He just sits on the point, and he prevents enemies from moving everywhere. The dude has 3 walls. Okay, but it's more like 4, because by the time one of your mini walls is done, your other wall is already up. And the other thing is his big wall can just shield him. He just stays alive too much. He is super tanky, and I think a part of that has to do with also the season bonus, which is a weird concept that they're basically like making certain characters be stronger. So Groot just has 200 extra HP than he was designed with. So rather than having 700, he's at 900. He's so much tankier because of that. It's a weird mechanic. I'm not sure how I feel about it, just because it's kind of forcing you and pushing you into specific characters. It's an odd feeling, but as it is right now, Groot is great. He is not the best tank, though. That's because Magneto's an easy S tier. Biggest thing on Magneto is just complete immunity with his front-facing shield. He has really nice damage, can chunk people out with his mag cannon, and then also bubbles. Bubbling an ally, especially a DPS who's just going wild, will never not be a good decision. Like, you can bubble a Scarlet Witch, bubble a Storm, bubble a Star-Lord, these people who can go in and do a shitload of damage, but they're kind of exposed when they do it. and he just protects them. Never mind that his ult, I think, is probably the best ult in the game. It doesn't just give your team complete immunity to projectiles, it also gathers up all of those projectiles into a bomb. So he steals all of the damage that the enemy team is shooting out, and then he just slaps it down. And it's so ridiculously good. You have to stop it, because if it reaches 100, it'll break and he'll stop. But you can still throw it out when it's at like 90, and it will kill anything. We'll talk about a character later, pretty soon here actually, who struggles a lot because of that. And then lastly, I'm sorry, Penny. Penny's the worst tank at this point. She has so much area denial. It's not more than Groot, but she is an incredible area denial character because she just sets up mines, she sets up web, she sets up her machines, and if she has time to set up, well, she's going to block off basically everything. And then she can just stun someone every 4 seconds. It's only like split second, half a second stun. But it's still a stun on a 4-second cooldown, which is just absolutely insane. But she doesn't have anything beyond that. Like Hulk, you've got all this extra mobility. Steven, you've got a great ult. Groot has never dying. Magneto is just the character. And Penny is just... because the enemies have to walk into it. They have to actually step into your area in order to take any damage. So as long as the enemy just like stands 2 feet away, you're fucked. What are you gonna do? Basically just pew them with her slow firing little pellet gun? It's unfortunate for her. So yeah, that's the tank lineup, and these tiers aren't going to be really ordered, but you can see like Doctor Strange is better than Penny, and this is the order of tanks. So if you really want to do well, either run Magneto if you're confident in your off-tanking skills, or run Groot if you just want to exist on the point and be an absolutely annoying bastard. DPS up next. Let's start with the most basic guy, Punisher. Punisher has really interesting things. His shotgun at close range is ridiculously good. It just erases health bars instantly. Turret, pretty decent, has a lot of health and does some good damage. Ultimate is pretty nice as well. You just run at people and blow them up. Excursion Raid, pretty decent. Kind of fucks with your team. I do love the 2D effects on it, though. Here's the issue with Punisher. That's Magneto. Magneto pretty much invalidates the Punisher. Because either he puts up his shield and just stops all the damage, or he hits him when he's in his turret mode with a right click, which just breaks like half the turret. It's an annoying amount of damage to do. Or, if Punisher has decided that he wants to go ahead and press his ultimate, heavens forbid that Punisher wants to pop his ultimate, because Magneto will just use his ult, instantly build up to 90 in like half a second, and then throw it at the Punisher, instantly kill. Basically, like, if there's a Punisher on the enemy team and I'm playing Magneto, I don't pop my ult. I wait till Punisher pops his ult, I pick up my ult, I kill him. I used my ult, sure, but I invalidated so much damage that was coming at my enemy from the enemy team. You can even do it on the turret. It still works with the turret. You could just pick it up, toss it at something. Bada boom, bada bing. I mean, Magneto's just insanely strong, and I think because of Magneto being so strong, Punisher probably could be A tier. But because Magneto's so good, the matchup against him is so great, I think Punisher drops down to B. He's still a good character. You can play him well. I just don't think he's that great. Hela, meanwhile, great character. I think she belongs in A tier. She reminds me a lot of like Androxus or Cassidy in that all you really do is you just click on heads. You don't really want to click directly on the head though, because, you know, it's a projectile. So it's going to be a bit different, but I mean, that's really all she's built for. You just click on people and they die. You hit headshots and it's great. Her ult is whatever. Her right click, decent. Her Q, cool stun, pulls people in, but I mean, all you really do as Hela is click on people. The one issue I have with her is her crow mode, because she flies forward. So she'll start here, she'll fly forward, and then she stops and she just drops straight down. And there's nothing you can do about that. I really think she should preserve her momentum as she goes, and it would just make her feel a lot better to play. We're going to talk about these three characters all kind of together. That's Magik, Black Panther and Spider-Man. I'm talking about them all together because they're all kind of the same. They're all these melee characters. They have a few projectiles. They're halfway decent. They are not terrible characters. I just think that the way the game is shaking up, it is not built for them. They're super mobile, super bursty, but in that regard, so are the supports. The supports are probably going to keep people alive, so you don't get your full burst combo going on them. That's just kind of the issue with it. I also think they're too mobile. It's almost like they are too built, especially Spoderman. Spoderman sucks for this. That's his biggest issue, is that Spoderman he's too mobile. Everything about him is about moving, and he doesn't have enough that actually helps him win in that fight. You can win fights. You can win fights with all of these characters. I don't know. I just don't think it's all that useful. I think Spoderman belongs in B. But I honestly think Black Panther, he runs a little bit less mobility than Spider-Man, but he has a little bit more health to him. Magik is in the same boat. I'm gonna leave her in B right now. I've seen good Black Panthers. I haven't seen any really good Magiks. I know they're out there. I just don't know that Magik is the strongest. I think the biggest thing is Black Panther having vibranium marks, so he can just dash into people and then dash through them again and dash through again, and he gets a lot there. Meanwhile, Magik, she swings. She gets more health back for it. She's a bit tankier than Black Panther, but I don't know, I just don't think she has the mobility to keep up with people. Meanwhile, I'm sorry, fish mains. Fish. You get the fish. You get the fish, okay? But aside from the amazingness that is Fish, Fish is great, but Fish is also terrible. I really don't think Namor has anything that makes him any better than anyone at all. He's actively kind of a detriment. I mean, he does damage. He has turrets. The turrets go down in like half a second by any kind of shots. They don't even, like, serve as a distraction type of thing. They're just gone. His right click, sure, and your turrets will shoot it. That's assuming that your right click doesn't just go directly into a shield. And then the biggest thing with this guy is, his ult can just be walked out of in most cases. You basically need a Groot or a Steven in order to use their ult to hold all the enemies in there so that your ult actually lands. Otherwise, they'll just walk away from it, or they'll shield it. I mean, Strange and Magneto can just literally put up a little shield. They can be standing in the ult, but as long as the centerpiece is between them and their shield, nothing's going to happen. Biggest issue, though. Worst thing about Namor is that left shift. Holy crap, why would you use this? It doesn't heal him. It doesn't let him move around. All it does is he moves up, he doesn't take any damage, then it goes away, and he takes all the damage and dies. Maybe he got healed. Maybe he had time. It is just so pointless, though. There's no reason to run Namor. He can't move around at all, and his defensive utility from the Monstros is just non-existent. It's just not there, and Namor is easily worst character in the game for that. Let's move on to an actually good character, though. Storm. I think Storm's an easy S tier. Not even so much for her own damage, because really that's only like her left click and her right click, which are good damage. I mean, they pierce all enemies, so you can just shoot them off into a group and get plenty of damage from that. The big thing about her, though, is movement speed bonus. On attack maps, you're going to love this. She just moves you forward, and then she pops her lightning, and you get a damage bonus. And she's kind of this amazing utility damage that is just endlessly good. I don't even think you want to use her to fly around. You just want to stay on the floor, stay near your team, and start blasting. And so, it's really nice. It's a really good utility, and you'll love it. Let's talk about Iron Man next. We'll save this thing. Iron Man, C tier. You know what? He's perfectly okay. He flies around. If the enemy can aim pretty well, you're probably dead. If they can't aim pretty well, you might do well. I just don't know that he really has much. His beam isn't too bad. His ult is really nice if you can just, like, get up behind someone and then maximum pulse. There are a lot of ways to get around maximum pulse, especially if you're if you're Magneto. If you're Magneto, there's just a ton of stuff you can get around. I think Iron Man's just really okay. He's not bad. I don't think any characters aside from Namor are bad. I think they all can be played and you can do fine with it. Namor's bad. Iron Man's just okay. The other S tier damage that we're going to talk about is Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch, is up here for a couple of reasons. One, her ult, which is insane. If you have a team that knows how to work around the ult and is ready to go with you, like Magneto bubbles you, it's over. You have good positioning around objects, it's over. Groot pulls them in, it's over. You just have so much you can do with this thing. It takes a while to charge up, but instant kill, no matter what, unless you're a Groot with bonus health, that's the only thing you can do to survive it. It's kind of insane. It's kind of insane. And aside from that, auto aim on her left click doesn't do too much damage. I don't think that's the issue, but her right clicks do a decent big chunk of damage. So that's actually pretty good to have those missiles with you. The other thing, though, is her left shift. I mean, she has the stun. She has a stun. That's a pretty cool thing. It makes people not be able to stand in one spot. But her left shift just makes her immune and omnidirectional. She can be losing a fight, pushes one button, she's gone. She's out of there. There's no issue there. She's just a really strong duelist who can kind of just sit there, left click, and then shoot out a right click. Left click, shoot out a right click. And then eventually you just walk back, press your ult, Magneto bubbles you, and a bunch of enemies die. And Scarlet Witch is just really strong in that way. Really strong. Unfortunately, though, she is kind of beaten out by our S+ character, which is Star-Lord. Star-Lord, I mean, he doesn't even need the insane high of that blast from Scarlet Witch. He just constantly has so much damage output. Like, he's Tracer. He's the Tracer of the game. He has a ton of damage output that you just need to kind of aim well. You don't even need to have that good of aim or be that close. It's a fairly accurate shot. You're going to work out with that. But on top of that, not only does he have 2 dashes, but they also reload. So you just pew 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 pew, dodge, pew 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 pew, dodge, pew 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 pew, dodge, and you've probably killed 2 people at that point. If you didn't kill 2 people at that point, well then just press a Z, and he just does some auto-aim area damage. If you've ever played Paladins, and you thought Lex needed to shoot all the enemies around him, rather than just one, that's the hero for you. And on top of that, he's also got omnidirectional flight, that he can just go around in. And on top of that, his ult makes him reload faster, gives him free flight, and auto-aims. It's every single one of his abilities in one. And you can also still dash during it. You can still do his little dash around. He is so insanely overtuned, and I think if you want to do well, and you can solo queue, and you can just aim at people, burst them down, I think Star-Lord's the character for you. Star-Lord is easily best character in the game. Not for any kind of utility, any kind of team fighting potential. It's just because nothing can get him, and he can get anyone. Okay, so that's our tanks and our duelists done. I think I'm actually going to move this around. Yeah, that feels better. I think Storm is the second best DPS, Scarlet Witch third, and then Hela's A tier, Black Panther, Punisher, Magic, Spoder, Iron Man. Not bad character, just not his game. Last up, let's get these strategists going. We're going to start off with a really big high. Loki's S tier. Easy. Easy S tier. Tons of healing, tons of mobility, plenty of mix-up potential. That fucking left shift where he just puts down this zone that nobody can damage. I mean, you could try to damage the enemies in it, but you're going to heal them instead. So it can turn so many ults into nothingness. It's kind of like Baptiste's Immortality Field, or Suzu, in that you just pop it when something big is coming your way, and instantly it's done. You don't have to worry about any of that. I think Loki is really strong. On top of that, he can just, like, give you a second Star-Lord if you wanted. The better part about his ult compared to Echo's is that it's not dependent upon the enemy. He doesn't even need to see them. He can just be hiding around a corner, copy his Star-Lord, and then they both go in. And that is some insane potential there. Being able to copy your own team just opens up a ton of possibilities to really arrange what type of comp you want. Do you want two Groots? Do you want two Storms? Do you want two of whatever support you have? We'll talk about what the other support you're probably going to have is. There's a lot you can do there, and I think he's easily the best support that you can play in this game. Learn him. He's not that difficult. I know it says he's a 4-star difficulty, but he's not that difficult. Just give it a try. As for our next one, we're actually going to drop Luna Snow in the A tier. She is the healer here. I think she really is all about that kind of healing output. You can just drop your mark on a Star-Lord, a Storm, or a Scarlet Witch, and then focus on healing your Groot, because she just does so much. And especially during her ult. The ult is insane. You can either give her your team damage bonus, or you could give them healing. And the healing on that is such that, more than likely, unless somebody would one-shot you anyways, like let's say you've got a Magneto Meteor heading your way, let's say you've got a Maximum Pulse coming at you, I struggle to think of another one-hit KO, you're probably going to out-heal just about anything the enemy team can throw at you. So, Luna Snow is just... she's a great healer. That's really it. That's all you need from her. Another healer is Mantis. And I think Mantis, not bad. Not bad. She is not as good as Luna Snow. So the advantages she has is more consistent damage bonus. That's really it. I mean, anything that Mantis can do, Luna Snow can do better, aside from just guaranteeing a damage bonus on your team if you need them. But I mean, if you need a damage bonus, you could just take Storm. Storm gives a permanent damage bonus that works better than Mantis. Mantis is good. Don't get me wrong, Mantis can heal. I just think if you want to play a healer, you're probably going with Luna Snow. And then last up on our list, Rocket honestly makes it all the way to S tier. I've been floating between A and S for him. I think he belongs in the S tier. There are definitely situations where you want to use Luna instead. Because Rocket does not provide as much pure healing output as Luna does. So if you need the healing output, Luna's your girl. She's the one you should go for. Unless you're already playing Loki, in which case play Loki. Because he can just turn any damage into healing for free easily. Meanwhile, Rocket is more about the utility there. Because he gets a revive. So he can just put up his little BRB machine, and it will revive somebody if they go down, as long as they're in range. But it's also a safe revive. It's not like Mercy, where you have to run in and revive them in the middle of fire. You can do it and have them come up outside. And that works pretty well. On top of that, if you don't have to revive, the machine is also giving out armor. It's only 25 extra shield, but I mean, that's pretty decent. You can take maybe another bullet with that. Maybe an extra shot. The other thing is, it's not explicitly stated, but there's these little blue crystals as well. Walk into one of those, and then you get a super jump. So anybody can get this really nice vertical mobility. So that's 3 bits of utility all wrapped up into one ability. What else does Rocket have? He's mobile as hell. I think he has more consistent mobility than Loki does. Loki has better mobility because he can just teleport, but Rocket has more consistent mobility. He can move around, and especially if you're running a Groot, he can just dash to the Groot. You don't want to spend the whole game just riding on Groot shooting things because, not as great. But if you are in trouble, you can just dash to your Groot and you're set. You get some extra damage reduction on top of that. So that's pretty sick. Healing, pretty decent. His ult is just a big go forwards button. Just sets up this machine, gives his whole team a damage boost, and it's great. So Rocket, I think, brings so much to the table in terms of utility, and really, if you're playing this game, you're probably going to run a 2-2-2 comp. You're not running 3-3, you're not running 3-2-1, probably not. You might go triple DPS and one tank. It's theoretically possible. It's not unheard of. It wins games. But you're probably going to want Loki as your support, and then either Rocket or Luna, just depending on which one you're feeling. Okay. And yeah, I think this is a pretty good tier list. If I had to make it ordered, I wouldn't, because I don't think ordered tier lists work all that well. As for what can be done to fix this, I think probably if this guy up here had slightly less damage output, he would fall down a little bit. But as it stands, he just has great damage output. As for Namor, I guess make his turrets a little bit stronger. Make it so that when he goes up in his stupid exposure bubble that he can dash out of it. Maybe. I don't know, Namor's kind of interesting case. Strange is missing an ability. He needs another ability. Yeah, I think I like this list. This looks pretty good. But if you have a different opinion, I would be happy to listen to it. You can drop it in the comments below. Let me know if you think that actually, Magik is triple S plus tier, or in fact, Magneto is dog shit. And I will tell you why your opinion is possibly valid depending on if it's a good opinion. That's going to be it for me in this video. Until I get to see you again, just eat healthy, sleep well, and be a good person.